Hey, what's up, everybody? BDO44 coming at you with another video. All right, so I'm in that weird space right now where I have about 10 or 15 minutes left before my food is done. The rice isn't quite where I want it to be, so I'm just kind of sitting here listening to other people talk about the Lakers. I figured, hey, why not talk about them myself? The one thing that I want to kind of just cram into this video here is an understanding that I've already spoken on many times in regards to our basketball team. And that understanding is this: just because we have cap space at the end of the season, um, and the pool of free agents don't necessarily look overly appealing to us, does not mean that we should not see that cap space as something that is very, very advantageous to our franchise at this upcoming offseason. Why? Because trades can arrive. Once people see that you have cap space, they're going to want you to fill it for them. And what can you acquire when you do that? Picks, young talent that may be attached to these contracts that they may not want. I look at Julius Randle's contract in New York, for example, and I say the Knicks got 7 picks. Julius Randle is a player we could possibly pick up in trade with the Knicks if we don't like any of the free agents that are in that pool. And what we can also do with Julius Randle is, because his contract is so crazy and it's probably one they'd rather not have, we could possibly have them attach a player or two to it, maybe a pick or two to it. And that is what you're looking at. I'm not even looking at the free agent pool at the end of this upcoming season. If you guys are really want to know the truth, I'm not even looking at it, because I already look at cap space as something that I can use regardless if it ain't a single free agent out there that wants to come here. Because there's 29 teams that I can trade with, and about half of them are going to want to free up cap space. So that's something that can arrive. Guys end up unhappy. A guy like Aiton's been unhappy all season long. His contract slots right in with ours if for some reason we don't like any of the free agents next year. There are a lot of things we can do in trade that probably will land us more options than our free agent pool would even do if you're thinking clearly enough as a GM. Players that are not going to be on their situations but don't necessarily know it right now because they may be happy right now, but then somebody's about to get hurt. So, like, they're going to be in a situation where they're not going to be winning now, and then they're going to want it out of there. That situation doesn't even manifest until certain things that haven't happened take place. What you want to do is be in a position to have cap space when that happens. And since we've seen so many things happen like that before, you want to be in that position. I'm telling you, it's not about who's the free agents. Oh, they suck. Well, we don't need cap space. Hell no, you don't want to think like that. You want to keep yourself as advantageous as possible to be in a position to capitalize on opportunities. That's what it's about. If you have your hands in a ready position, what can you do? You can catch, and that's what cap space does for you. What are draft picks? Draft picks are currency. That's it. Currency. See what I'm saying? That's how people looking at things entirely wrong. They're like, oh, we're not going to, these draft picks probably not going to turn into something. You only need to strike one or two. Wrong. You're looking at it entirely wrong. That's not what a draft pick is. A draft pick is not a drafted player. It's a tradable asset that you can use to get what you want. Who cares who the kid is going to be? Unless you decide you want to keep the pick. But if for some reason you don't want to keep the pick, there's always somebody who wants to pick. That's the point. Your players? Not everybody wants your players. He may not fit on the team. Maybe his personality ain't that. Maybe he's overpaid, underpaid, whatever. That draft pick, I choose what that is. And what does that mean? Everybody wants a choice, right? Everybody wants a choice, and draft picks are that choice. I hold a couple of those, 3 or 4 of those. What can I do? I can go get somebody, or I can get rid of somebody, just like I've already described. A lot of these contracts we end up wanting, we don't want after a while. We want to get rid of them. And what do people want us to do? Attach picks to them. That's the situation we're in right now. People know we only have 2 picks. So what do they want us to do? Attach picks to everything we're trying to do, even if it ain't worth 2 picks. They're like, they only got 2. They know how much the picks matter to the Lakers, so let's try to fleece them for them. They wouldn't even care about them 2 picks if we had more of them, and that's the point. That's the point. Because we're looking at picks the wrong way, thinking, well, we don't need as many of them because we're only going to draft a few of them, which is asinine given the fact that we have some of the best scouts in the league. But nevertheless, because we're thinking that way, we don't have enough picks. And what happens when you don't have enough picks? Do we have to speak in circles, or are you getting it? This is one of those situations where I'm trying to get people to understand this, because they're saying, well, let's trade for Zach LaVine since we're not going to have the cap space. His contract is going to fit in. No. Do you like Zach LaVine at $35 million in 5 years? Hell no. You don't. You may like Zach LaVine. Yeah. You don't like Zach LaVine at $35 million for 5 years starting right now. No, you don't like that. Don't tell yourself that. There's two different things you need to be looking at. It's the player and the fit, and it's the contract and the fit into your cap situation and what it's going to do over time. And what I'm telling you is, when you slot that contract in, what passes you by? Young player, young player, young player, young player. They're going to every team but your team, but you're sitting there looking at Zach LaVine. You think that's good for us? Hell no, that's not good for us. It's terrible for us. We went through a whole era of that where young players were going right past us, and we were sitting there watching all these guys come into their own on other teams. We don't need to have a future like that. For what? To keep Bron here? Bron gonna be here anyway. He likes sunshine. He don't want to be a Clipper. He gonna be here anyway. So that is not a variable. If anything, if we start doing things correctly, he's gonna enjoy his time here more so. You bring him Zach LaVine, he's gonna look at Zach LaVine and realize he can't win with Zach LaVine. You know what he's gonna want to do? Trade Zach LaVine. You know what he can't do? Trade Zach LaVine. You know why? He's at $35 million for five years. That's why you can't retrade it. That's why the Bulls are trying to load it off on us, because it's not winnable. So again, this is the wrong way to shop. And I don't think the science is understood, because a lot of people are still looking at the mistakes made and saying, this is not that bad of a mistake. Yes, it is, because you can't see what's coming down the pipeline next. I can, because essentially I'm telling you, it's young players coming, and you don't want to be the team that doesn't have them. And that's exactly who we're going to be once you slot Zach LaVine at $35 million. 5 years starting now is one young player after another going by the wayside. And you may say, well, how are they supposed to get those players if they don't have no picks? Well, this is how you get those picks. Weren't you listening? You get those picks by having that cap space and trading for those contracts that attach to those damn picks. You get them. You go get those picks that way. The Knicks got a bunch of picks, and a bunch of other teams got a bunch of picks too. And they got bad contracts that they don't want, including the Bulls. If you're going to give me Zach LaVine, give me 6 picks. 6. Not 2, not 3, no. Because you got to anchor my team, and you're entrusting and ensuring that I need enough to make Zach LaVine a champion. And as far as I'm concerned, I need a whole future to make Zach LaVine a champion at $35 million. $35 million a year, that's just a little bit better, in my opinion, just a little bit better than Duncan Robinson. So what is it going to take for me to make Duncan Robinson an NBA champion? It's going to take about 8 or 9 picks. I'm going to have to get very, very lucky with the rest of the team in order for that contract to make sense on a championship level squad. So that's why I need 7 and 8 picks for Zach LaVine, because I ain't going to win if I don't have them. Remember, it ain't just about drafting those players. It's about what I can get for 8 picks. If I trade for Zach LaVine's $35 million and then I got 8 picks, guess what I can bring Zach LaVine? Whole lot of talent to play with. Enough talent so that he can miss his 30 games, AD can miss his 30 games, Bron can miss his 30 games and go off into the sunset and provide us no value, and we're still loaded. That way I can look at Zach LaVine's $35 million contract, even if it sucks, if he breaks his ankle or whatever, I can stretch him and still have a future. That's the difference. See, we went through that Mozgov crap. We barely had a couple picks. We got through it, whatever. If you have a handful of picks and you got a bad contract like that, your future's fine. You'll live. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, this is what it takes to make that make sense. You're going to slot 3 contracts together that are full of injury-prone players. Then you know what else you need to make that make sense? A load of picks. A load of picks that can make up for those players that will not be there. That way you can trade for the players. If when they're out, you be like, all right, take some of these picks. Let's go get us a whole nother team since these idiots are going to be out. You can do that. Or you can say, all right, these dudes are nothing. Let's trade them away and reset with the 8 picks we have. Start drafting them. Start moving them around for young players that we can get. Everybody wants picks all the time. So you can just do whatever you want with the picks. It's currency. So my food should be done by now, man. That's what I want the Lakers to understand. I want y'all to understand that. Because the media don't get it. They don't get it. They would be shocked by the moves I would make, because they would be like, oh, this is how it's done. Yes, this is how it's done. You have to be able to understand that your cap space is more than just something you're giving to some dude who's free. Hell no. No. It's something that you provide yourself to create all types of opportunities that are possible in this ecosystem. So that's what I'm here to say, man. The food should be done by now. My name is BDO44. I thank y'all for watching.